الله أكبر الله أكبر.
لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولله الحمد. We begin by praising Allah, declaring His perfection and accepting all our faults and imperfections. This day of Eid, brothers and sisters, we celebrate the legacy of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Him reviving the legacy where he cleans the house of Allah, the Kaaba, and destroyed all the idols and destroyed all the things that people used to ascribe as partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talk about Ibrahim alayhi salam and the sacrifices and the trials that he went through, and he was successful in all those trials. He cleared all of them. His devotion to Allah was remarkable, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a result took him as a close friend. Khalilullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called him Khalilullah, a close, intimate friend with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah al-Nahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and I will read the translation. Indeed, Ibrahim was a comprehensive leader, devotee, obedient to Allah, inclining towards truth, and he was not of those who associate others with Allah. He was grateful for his favors. Allah chose him and guided him to a straight path, and we gave Ibrahim good in this world, and indeed in the hereafter you will be among the righteous. Then we reveal to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to follow the religion of Ibrahim, inclining towards truth, and he was not of those who associate with Allah. People in Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's time, the people who used to proclaim the name of Ibrahim alayhi salam, unfortunately, were in the darkness, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam brought them out of those darknesses and told them what Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's true teachings were. And Surah al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and I will read this translation. Ibrahim alayhi salam was neither a Jew or a Christian, but he was one inclining towards truth, a Muslim submitting to Allah. He was not of the polytheists. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly defines and tells people that he was not a Jew or a Christian. Jews and Christians all mention the name of Ibrahim alayhi salam, but he never called himself a Jew or a Christian. What was he? He was a Muslim. All the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were all Muslims. They brought the same religion, and the religion is Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Ibrahim alayhi salam's trials, and of course there is no doubt about it that the trials that Ibrahim alayhi salam went through, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that they were great trials, and he cleared all of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah al-Baqarah and mentioned, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when Ibrahim was tried by his Lord with commands, he fulfilled them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him commands and he fulfilled them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indeed, I will make you a leader for the people. Ibrahim alayhi salam said, and of my descendants, what will happen to my descendants? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, my covenant does not include the wrong words. So the first test of Ibrahim alayhi salam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah As-Safat was with his father. And in Surah As-Safat, I'll read the translation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, when he came to his Lord with a sound heart, بِقَلْبٍ salim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that about Ibrahim alayhi salam, that the state of his heart was sound, بِقَلْبٍ salim. And when he said to his father and his people, what do you worship? Is it falsehood as gods other than Allah you desire? Then what is your thought about the Lord of the worlds? So the first da'wah that he made was to his father, and his father used to create these idols for people to worship. After reasoning with his father and his people, when they did not listen, the story goes on, he destroyed their idols. And what did the people do? Even after they were able to comprehend that what Ibrahim alayhi salam was saying was the truth, even after comprehending and understanding that, they said, save your gods, and create a big fire and throw Ibrahim alayhi salam into it. That was another trial that Ibrahim alayhi salam went through. And he did not complain, he did not hesitate, and they actually threw Ibrahim alayhi salam in the fire. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the fire, قُلْنَا يَا نُورُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Allah subhanahu قُلْنَا يَا نَارًا كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the fire, O fire, be coolness and safety upon Ibrahim. Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him, and look how he himself pulled himself out of all the wrong practices that the society were going through at that time. And he said, إِنِّي وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Indeed, I have turned my face towards He who created the heavens and the earth, inclining towards truth, and I am not of those who associate others with Allah. He went through several trials, and his last trial was with his son. The son actually he prayed for. He prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbi habli minas salihin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord, grant me a child from among the righteous. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him Ismail alayhi salam, his first son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this story again in Surah As-Safat. And when he reached with him the age of exertion, he said, O my son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So you see what you think. And Ismail alayhi salam said in response, O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, of the steadfast. And when they had both submitted, and he put him down upon his forehead, we called to him, O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the vision. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of the good. Indeed, this was the clear trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice, and we left for him favorable mention among later generations. Peace be upon Ibrahim. Indeed, thus we reward the good doer. Indeed, he was our believing servant. Most of the Hajj, brothers and sisters, is we follow the Sunnah of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Most of the rites of Hajj relate to Ibrahim alayhi salam and his life. He rebuilt the Kaaba and made it a place where people will come and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. This slaughter that we do on Eid-ul-Adha, brothers and sisters, this is a ibadah. We cannot slaughter in the name of anything but Allah, and cannot associate the slaughter with anything but Allah. And it's a means for us to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But does this meat, does this blood actually reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran in Surah Al-Hajj, their meat will not reach Allah, nor will their blood. But what reaches Him is piety from you. Thus, have we subjected them to you, that you may glorify Allah for that to which He has guided you, and give good tidings to the doers of good. So, what does reach Allah? Reaches Allah is the taqwa, the piety of the heart, the ikhlas, the love of Allah. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to see, brothers and sisters, that this love of Allah is that there in our hearts. If we are willing to sacrifice our desires, it's not just about sacrificing the animals, it goes beyond that. It's about sacrificing our desires for the sake of Allah. Are we striving day and night to fulfill the commandments of Allah? Do we fear the day when we will stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And are we willing to sacrifice anything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. So, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam is profound, is full of sacrifices, and it's got a lot of lessons in it for us. So, may Allah give us the tawfiq to actually ponder upon these stories and learn lessons from them. There are some gems from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's last sermon that will allow for us all to recall today. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his last sermon on the day of Arafah, he mentions in his sermon, O people, just like you regard this month of the Hijjah, this day, this city as sacred, so regard the life and the property of every Muslim as a sacred trust. He mentions, remember that you will indeed meet your Lord, and that He will indeed reckon your deeds. Allah has forbidden for you usury, interest. And He mentions, be aware of shaitan for the safety of your religion. He has lost, shaitan has lost all hope that he will ever be able to lead you astray in big things. So be aware of following him in small things. He carries on, do treat your women well and be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers. And he carries on, O people, listen to me in earnest, worship Allah, perform your 5 daily prayers, fast during the month of Ramadan, and give your wealth in zakah. Perform Hajj if you can afford it. He carries on, all mankind is from Adam and Eve, and Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab. nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over black, nor does a black have any superiority over a white, except by piety and good action. That is what we need to strive for. Learn that every Muslim is a brother to every Muslim, and the Muslims constitute one brotherhood. Nothing shall be legitimate to a Muslim which belongs to a fellow Muslim unless it was given freely and willingly. Do not therefore do injustice to yourself. So isn't that a profound message to the entire mankind, and especially Muslims, for a universal brotherhood? It is. He carries on. Remember, one day you will appear before Allah and answer for your deeds. So be aware, do not stray from the path of righteousness after I am gone. He carries on. I leave behind you two things. What are they? The Quran and my example, the Sunnah. If you follow these, you will never go astray. Brothers and sisters, may Allah give us all the means and the tawfiq to fulfill all our obligation and walk in the paths of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah make us amongst the true believers like He has described in His book. May Allah make us people of gratitude. May Allah protect the believers wherever they are. May Allah make Muslims become one nation and strong. May Allah destroy all the powers that are working against Islam and the Muslims. May Allah bless this Eid for us. May Allah perfect the state of Muslims wherever they are. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين